The computer science discourse community consists largely of written articles that serve to educate or perhaps persuade other computer scientists. There are many aspects of this incredibly large field, with several different niches that are worth exploring. Since I'm taking a software engineering class, I decided to dive into the discourse community of software engineers. One of the most widely debated topics within this community is the process of product development. Everyone has their own opinions when it comes to which method of production is the most efficient, while also yielding high quality results that leave the customer satisfied. The first of my selected texts is an article where software engineers Jim Highsmith and Alistair Cockburn detail a method of software development called Agile Software Development, the Business of Innovation. This article is aimed at companies that want to improve their production process or at new engineers that wish to learn the industry standard for developing software. My second selected text is a video called Software Engineering Crash Course Computer Science number 16. This video is an introduction to software engineering for people that know little or nothing about the topic. It takes a more general approach to the topic as opposed to the specificity of the Agile and Software Development article. Even though the Business of Innovation article and the Crash Course video have different target audiences, they both rely heavily on ethos, but use different specialized vocabulary and medium to get their point across. This reflects the many different approaches that are used within the computer science discourse community, since everybody has a different learning style. We can get a sense of the ethos of the article after just a little bit of research on the authors. Jim Highsmith is the creator of the adaptive software development model, and he taught and consulted on software quality process improvement, project management, and accelerated development techniques. So we can trust that he is familiar with teaching software development processes and he knows what he's talking about when it comes to the topic. He also served as the director of the Agile Project Management Advisory, which is the development model that we've been reading about in the article. Alistair Cockburn, the other author of the article, is a computer scientist who is credited as one of the initiators of the Agile movement in software development. He co-signed the manifesto for Agile software development as well.
And sure enough, if you keep reading, they talk about their contributions to the Agile manifesto later in the article.
This background knowledge of the authors makes them more credible and allows us to trust what they say in the article. We can find the purpose of the article towards the beginning with the quote, "The business environment continues to change at a dramatically increasing pace. To thrive in this turbulent environment, we must confront the business need for relentless innovation and forge the future workforce culture." This immediately tells us their intention in the article is to teach. They're here to provide helpful and valuable insight to assist in the reader's product development. Similarly, although for a much broader audience, the Crash Course video also intends to inform the viewer. Crash Course is a company that makes tons of free educational videos for students or anyone that's interested, and they present it in a really friendly and approachable way. More on that later. Based on what we already know about Crash Course, we can safely say their intent is to inform and they're qualified to do so.
Specialized vocabulary is tailored to the target audience of each piece of media that we look at. In the article, we can find examples of specialized vocabulary that we are expected to already know about prior to the reading. An example in the article is, quote, "A complex adaptive system is one in which decentralized independent individuals interact in self-organizing ways, guided by a set of simple generative rules to create innovative, emergent results." This seems like a bit of a word jumble, but if you have some background knowledge, you know that generative rules are opposed to inclusive rules, which are more restrictive and you have less room for adjustment with them. The article also name drops Barry Boehm, who we know to be a distinguished professor and software engineer. If you didn't know Barry Boehm prior to the reading, you may not recognize the significance of his name being put in there. This specialized vocabulary gives us an idea of the target audience, which is people that already know about software engineering. This can relate to our idea of how different publications will be different since everybody is different. And some people process information better through reading as opposed to a video. The types of specialized vocabulary used in the Crash Course video is friendly to the people that are just now learning about the concepts, or maybe are seeking further knowledge of it, but just can't sit down and read an article like Highsmith and Cockburn's. Some examples of specialized vocabulary in the Crash Course video, when they use examples such as this car example to break down programming concepts that may be difficult to understand at first. This also goes into how medium can be useful. Medium is a key part of how you want your audience to interact and interpret the information that you give them. A video with lots of graphics, fun colors, and a narrator is much more effective in reeling in a new audience than a wordy article. The article is probably only interesting to very few people. Even a lot of software engineers might start falling asleep while reading, if they are absolutely interested or desperate for information to improve their software. Both of these mediums have their place in the software engineering discourse community, completely depending on the user's preference when it comes to learning new information. The two texts that I selected that we went over in this video are effective in getting a sense of how the computer science discourse community works, specifically the software engineering discourse community. Everybody has different ways of processing information, so that's why it's important to have so many different types of educational text. The video presents the information using friendly specialized vocabulary while also using a medium that is more attention-grabbing than a slew of text. The article uses specialized vocabulary that's more tailored to people that have existing experience in the field and in a medium that conveys information at a more efficient level. However, both of these have the proper amount of ethos that gives credibility to the authors and allows us, the audience, to trust and use this information.